to project 1 in the ping game. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to re-record this project since we've gone to a new version of software. We went from Multimedia Fusion 2 to Clickteam Fusion 2.5. So I wanted to redo this video so that you guys have a better idea of how to do this assignment. So I'm going to go into Project 2 Ping. And we're going to go down to Assignment 1, Project Ping. Let's open it up. And here's the assignment. Okay, all the ways that this is graded is going to be right here. Make sure that you have all the things that you need here. Now here you see you need sound. So where do you get the sound? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let me show you where you get the sound from. I'm back here on the home page. If I open up the course overview and I come down to 1.04 download resources and zip assignments, I'll bet you'll find it there. So I click this down. I come down to learn download resources. I click on the Here button. Then I click on the link that it gives me. So here I go. I have the download course resource files. Click that open. And of course you can't see it because it's off screen, but there's my, it's downloading off here on my left, my lower left. So now this opens, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to extract it onto my desktop. So I'm going to go Browse. And I'm going to go onto my desktop. I'm going to make a new folder. And I'm going to call this folder Game Design. I click OK. I'm going to extract them all into my Game Design folder. So now not only do I have a place where all my project backgrounds and the sound folder is, I also have a place to build my project. Okay, so now that I got my game design folder, what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch Clickteam Fusion 2.5. So I click on my Start button, go to All Programs, I go to Clickteam Fusion 2.5, and I find my little red button. So I click that little red button. My program should come up. So now what I do is I click New, go File New, and I want to save my project. So I click the Save button, and I go into that project I just made in my game design folder, and Project 1, and I'm going to call this Ping. And click Save. So you see automatically we have the name of the application changed from Application 1 to Ping. So I'm going to change the name of the frame 1. So I just right click it, go rename, and I call this Game. Now what I want to do is I want to make my background color. Now they say you make it purples, but this is your game. I imagine that it won't be any problem to name it whatever color you want, but I think you want to check with your teacher first. So I'm going to click background color, and I'm going to put the color that they put on, the second one in. Now I'm going to open this up, so I just double click where it says thumbnail here. And there's my game background. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert an object. So I click Insert, New Object. And now what kind of an object do I want? I come up to All Objects and I click Active, the running man. I click OK. And I just click here and I get a blue diamond. So now I'm going to change this blue diamond. I'm going to double click it. Now this brings up my animation editor. So what I want to do is I want to erase this blue diamond. So I click my eraser tool and I just erase that blue diamond out. Best I can, don't leave any little specks there. So now what I do is I grab my pail, my bucket, and I click that, and I put the ball color on. Okay, so is there a particular color you want for the ball? I'm sure it's not going to make a difference. I'll do yellow. And I'm going to just pour the yellow color in. There we go. And now I'm going to change the dimensions. So I click the size tool right underneath the pail or the bucket. I choose the width of 10. I choose the height of 10. And then I click apply. So that makes it much smaller. If you have a hard time seeing this, you can always boost the magnification, the zoom. Just slide this up and it looks bigger. Okay? So that'll help you put color in if you need to do that. So I just click OK. So now I'm going to put in another active object. I go right, insert, new object, click active, the running man, and click OK. Let's click here on the stage. I double click my blue diamond. Now I click my eraser tool once more and I erase out the blue diamond. This time the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change its height and width instead of, changing the color. So I click on the height and width icon here. I change the width to 8. And I change the height to 480. This is going to be a line, the center line. So I just click apply. Now I pour in my color. So I click on my pail or my bucket. I choose my color. And I pour it in. You see I got a little bit left here of that blue diamond, so I'm going to erase out that little speck here, and I'm going to pour back in the color again. And I'm going to click OK. So now I want to center this. Alright, so I'm going to right click that until I get this option, align and frame. So I want to make this horizontal center, so I click Hurrah's center. I'm going to make it vertical center, so I right click it, I get that option, align and frame, vert center. So now it's centered on the stage. So I want to bring this up a tad and scooch over here a little bit, and I'm going to put in one of my paddles. Now before I do anything, I might want to name this ball. So right over here where it says active, I right click that and click rename. And I'm going to call this ball. And I'm going to rename active to center line. So I right click that, rename, I type in center line. So now I'm ready to put in my third object. So I'm going to click over here to insert, new object, and I'm going to click the running man and click OK. So I'll put this one over to the side and double click him. So of course I need to erase out the blue diamond. I need to change the dimensions, so I click on the size tool. I want the width to be 10 and the height to be 50. So I just click apply. Now I add in my color, so I click on my paint bucket again, my pail, and I choose my color. This time we want it to be green, so I click on my green and I pour it in there and I click OK. So I'm going to rename this one Paddle 1. Right click active, rename Paddle 1. Click OK. Now what we're going to do is we're going to move the paddle. So I click on the paddle. I'm going to come here to Dimensions. Now I'm going to click on the Running Man. See, this is Properties, Paddle 1, and here's the Running Man. That's my movement option. So I click on the stop sign labeled Static. And I go find what's called the 8 directions movement. There's the 8 directions movement. Not this one over here. You don't want the physics movement. You want the regular 8 directions movement. Okay. So now, what do I want to happen here? I want him only to be able to go up and down. Right now he can move in 8 directions. I only want him to be able to move in 2. So I click on this direction 0468 and I click Erase Everything. So I click that dotted circle in the lower left hand corner. Now I click all the way at the top and all the way down to the bottom. Now that should work. Now I just clicked inside the stage here. So now what I want to happen is I want this to, I want to have another paddle. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to clone this paddle. I don't want to duplicate this paddle, I want to clone it because I want to have a different colored paddle that's going to move on different keys, and to do that I have to clone it. So I right click the paddle until I get a clone object option. So I click on clone object and I click OK, and I take the second paddle and I move it all the way over here on the right. I'm going to change the color of paddle 2. Double click paddle 2. And I click on the pail. Then I choose my color. And I pour it in there. And I click OK. So now I've got 2 paddles. See, it automatically named it paddle 2. But I need to set this player 1 to player 2. So I click that down and make him player 2. Okay? So what does this look like so far? I'll show you. I'm going to click my Run button, Application. So here's what my game looks like so far. I have paddles that go up and down, but they're going up and down on the arrow keys, and they're both using the same arrow keys. So the movement is not independent. We'll change that in a little bit. Next thing I want to do is I want to put some action on this ball. So I'm going to come back over here and find my ball. I'm going to click my ball, and that brings up my properties. So I click on my Running Man here, and I click the stop sign, which is the static button. You want to change this to bouncing ball movement, not the physics bouncing ball movement. All the way up top it says bouncing ball. You can't see that, I apologize, but you click that. You want to have this bouncing ball movement, not the physics bouncing ball movement, the regular bouncing ball movement, all the way up to the top of the options. So then I click initial direction 0, 1, 2, 3, etc., and I click that open, and I erase everything. So I want it basically to go left and right. So I click here, and I click here. So this is 0, where my arrow is right now. I want to add 1, 2, 3. And I want to add 31, 30, 29. These are the different options that the ball has to go to the right. So I can do the same thing to the left. This is 16, 17, 18, 19. And I want 15, 14, 13. So now it kind of looks like a bow tie. This is just so that your player can't hold its paddle in one place. You know, it can go all these different options, so it's not predictable which way the ball will go, but it won't spend forever going up and down when the game starts. Okay? So now I click back on the stage, and the ball's all set with movement, and the paddle's all set with movement. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make I leave paddle 2 going in the up and down keys, but I want paddle 1 to move up and down using my W and my S keys. How do I do that? It's a little tricky. Let me show you. You click on the ping button all the way up top here. Now I know some of you are saying, Miss Hadley, I don't see this. If your workspace toolbar is hidden, what you need to do is you need to enable it. So click View and come down to Toolbars, and you want at least the first three. You want the Standard Toolbar, Workspace Toolbar, and Properties to show up. We're in the Workspace Toolbar, so make sure that's an option here. And I have it on top because that's the way I set it up. If yours is set up differently, that's fine, but you might want to move it because this is the way the way I have mine set up is the way that they have it set up in the course. And so let me show you how to fix this. Okay, let's say you have your properties, I don't know, someplace else. What you can always do is move your properties till you get, see this little thing here kind of looks like a grid. You take it to the bottom option and then it just docks underneath the this workspace toolbar. Okay, or if it's your workspace toolbar that's off somewhere else and you want to, or maybe somehow you've got it like this, where you've got two different, you got them done this way. Let me show you how to put it on the top. Okay, so all I do is I bring it over. I can bring this and see this up arrow here. That's how I get it to come back up here. It's that little it looks like a little four-sided cross. You just click the top box and it'll go up to the top. That's how you dock them. And if they keep on disappearing, pin it up. See this here? That's auto hide. You don't want it to hide. So you click that so it's down, so the pin is down. Okay? I just think that answers all those questions. Alright? But basically what you're doing is you're clicking the ball over here. What we're doing is we're going to change the properties of this one to move up and down with the W and the S key. So I click on my ping here and I come on down to this over here, the properties. So I don't want settings, I don't want windows. What I do want is runtime options, the third one in. So I click that and I come all the way to the bottom where it says default controls. I click edit. Which one is the default control here? I click the first one. So now I want my up arrow to go with the W key, so I click up. It says press a key, so I press my W key. So I want the down arrow to be the S, so it says press the key, so I press my S key. So now it will go up with the W key and down with the S key. I click OK. I click OK again. So let me test this out. I'm going to go run application. So let me try the W and S key. And let me try the up and down arrow. So you see now my paddles operate independently. Okay. So now we have balls and movement. What we want to do now is we want to go into what's called the event editor. And we want to make the ball bounce off of the top and the bottom of the screen, and we want the ball to be able to bounce off the paddles. So the way we do this is with the event editor. So I'm going to go to my view menu and I'm going to go down to the event editor. Okay, now I'm going to make an if condition here. So when something happens over here, I want a corresponding action to happen over here. So the first thing that happens is we have the ball going through the paddle. We want it to bounce off the paddle. So I click new condition. What's in motion? The ball's in motion. So the ball is colliding with another object. What's it colliding with? It's colliding with paddle 1. We're going to do paddle 1 first. I click OK. So when the ball hits paddle 1, I want the ball to bounce. So what's affected? The ball's affected. Right click, movement, and I choose bounce for my options. So I click movement and I click bounce. So here I've got a bounce movement on my ball. So now let's go the other paddle. I click my condition. When what happens? When the ball, which is in motion, it hits another object, this time the second paddle. Do we want it to go through it? No, we want the ball to bounce. So I right click, movement, bounce. Okay? So now we have the ball bouncing off of either paddle. What we want to happen next is we want the ball to bounce off the top and the bottom of the screen. So there's a different way we have to do that because it's actually the ball's not colliding with anything, it's going out of bounds. So we're going to do a new condition differently. I'm going to click that. Now once again it's the ball that's in action, and we're going to check a position. We're going to test the position of the ball. Is it trying to leave the stage on the top? See this arrow going out the top, or the arrow going out the bottom? So I hit them both, going out the top and going out the bottom. I click OK. So when the ball leaves the play area on the top or the bottom, what I want the ball to do? I want the ball to bounce, right? So I right click under the ball, movement, and I'm going to choose bounce. Okay, that's ball movement, bounce. So now we have a condition here where the ball is going to leave on the right or the left. But my problem is that the ball, if someone's going to get a score. We don't have any score objects up, so let's take care of that. I'm going to hit my save button, and I'm going to go back into my game frame. So I'm going to double click the word game. So here we are, and I'm going to put up here a score object. So I'm going to click insert, new object, and I come over here and hit the games on the left, and then I'm going to click score and click OK. So I'm going to put a score on this side. Okay, black against red is pretty easy to see, but you still have your choice of options if you want to change the color. So I come over here to settings. That's that red check mark. And this is player 1, yes, but I want to change the type from numbers to text. So I click that down and I click the word text. Okay. So now I'm going to click on the text option up here, and this is going to change whatever I want changed. So I'm going to click RGB equals, and I'm going to make that yellow. Okay. Then I click Tahoma, and I find a font that I like. There's lots of fonts to choose from. Find one you like. There's Ravy. I bump up the size so it's going to look something like this, and I click OK. So now I'm going to clone this. And the second 0 I'm going to put on the right side. Okay, this one though I want to belong to player 2, so I click on this red check mark, and I change that from player 1 to player 2. Okay. So now what do we want to happen? We want to go back in the event editor, because every time the ball goes out of bounds, someone's going to get a point. Okay, so let's do that. I'm going to go into my event editor, so I go view, event editor. I'm going to make a new condition. The ball is the one in motion. We're going to check the position of the ball. Is the ball going out on the left? If so, what does that mean? So the ball leaves the play area on the left. It means the player on the left, which is player 1, missed. So who gets the point? You got it. Player 2 gets the point. So we right click under player 2 right here. The joystick that says 2. We right click, score, add to score. Then we say we want to add 1. So click 1, click OK. So what's going on next? I'm going to click under the ball. The ball's going to have to come back to the center of the stage. So I right click here. I'm going to go position. I'm going to click select position. Select position of what? The ball. So this dotted X is where the ball is. I'm going to drag it to center stage. I can eyeball this. Or I can check a select position and put something up here for coordinates this way. Okay, so I click OK. Now I want this to go to the right or to the left, right? I don't want it to just go anywhere it chooses. So it left the play area on the left. I want to bring it right. So right on top of this check mark, I right click. I go direction. I select direction. So this it left on the left, so I want to bring it right. So 0's good, but I don't want it predictable, so I go 1, 2, 3, and 31, 30, 29. So I want it to go one of these ways, but I don't want it to just go willy-nilly anyway, because, you know, we want to challenge the player that just got the point, see if he can return the ball. Okay. Alright, let's do the same for player 2. Alright, so I'm going to click here. The ball's in motion. The ball leaves the field, so it's a position issue. Test the position of the ball. Is it leaving on the right? So if it leaves on the right, who's the player on the right? Player 2. So it means that player 2 missed. So it's player 1 that gets the point. So right click under player 1, score, add to score. How much are you going to add? 1. And click OK. So now I'm going to click under the ball. What happens to the ball? Well, we want to return it on stage, right? So I right click here, position, select position. So where do we want the ball to go? I drag that dotted square to the center again. And you can do it with X and Y coordinates if you want. I think it's just easier to visually do it. Click OK. So now we want to return the ball back to the player who made the point. That's player 1. Player 1's on the left. I want to return the ball left. So I right click, direction, select direction. So I just erased that 0 and I put it on the 16. So I'm going to choose 15, 14, 12, and 17, 18, 19. Those are the directions I want to let it go. I click OK. So now we've got a game. Let's see what it looks like. I'm going to click Run Application. And there we go. See, the ball keeps being returned. I can move the W and the S key. I can move the up and down keys. Looking more like a game every minute, isn't it? Okay, let's go look at what we do next. Well, what we do next is we want to add win text to this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the game frame. First I'm going to save it. And go back to the game frame. So I'm going to insert something. I go insert, new object. Now I'm going to click text. So I come all the way down to text. Now I want to put in some string, so I click string and click OK. Now it doesn't matter where I put it because I'm going to move it anyway. So what I'm going to write over here next to paragraph 0 is player 1 wins. So I'm going to put one for player 2 winning too. So right underneath that, I click New. I write player 2 wins. Now I want to change up that color. So I come over here to the A. I click the RGB. I give it a nice yellow color. Okay, now I'm going to go to size. I'm going to Homa. And I'm going to put Ravy again to go along with my numbers here. And I'm going to make it nice and big. Click OK. Now, what I need to do is I need to drag this off stage because we don't want this to show up unless somebody wins. So I'm going to drag it down here. Okay? Off stage. It's in the gray area. We dragged it into the gray area. So now I want an event to bring it up, right? Somebody's going to win. That's the event that's going to bring it up. So I'm going to go back into the event editor. So I go View, Event Editor. So when somebody gets 13 points, they're going to win. So I'm going to click New Condition. So I'm going to click the score. See, joystick 1 says compare to player's score. So I'm going to see if did he get 13 points. So I put 13 in. Click OK. So what do I want to happen when player 1 gets 13 points? Okay, what I want to happen is I want the ball to go away. So I right click under the ball column. I'm going to click Destroy. Now I'm going to come on over. And I want to display this player 1 wins. So I click on this right click here. I'm going to click Display Text. So what we do is we take this dotted box where we want it to go. So I'm going to drag this pop-up out of the way. And this is the player on the left. So I'm going to click him over here to the left somewhere. Click OK. So I'm going to choose the player 1 wins paragraph. So what about player 2 getting 13 points? I'm going to click here. I'm going to click joystick 2, compare to player score. Did player 2 get 13 points? Click OK. So I'm going to right click under here, or the ball, bring it back, destroy the ball. Now I'm going to display, so I right click, display text. So now player 2 wins. Player 2 is on the right side, so I'm going to drag my dotted box to the right side and click OK. I'm going to click player 2 wins, click OK. Alright, so let's play this game and see how we look. So there we go, that's the game. Now I notice that my pedals are going off the stage, so I'm going to control that. So I'm going to have a new condition here, and I'm going to have paddle 1. I'm going to check position of paddle 1, test the position of paddle 1. Is paddle 1 leaving this frame on the top or the bottom? So what do you want to do? You want paddle 1 to bounce if it leaves the frame on the top or the bottom. So under paddle 1, I right click, and I click movement, I select bounce. I'm going to do the same thing with paddle 2. I click the new condition. Now I'm checking paddle 2. Position, We're going to test the position of paddle 2. Is paddle 2 trying to leave on the top or the bottom? If that's the case, I want paddle 2 to bounce. So right click under paddle 2, movement, bounce. So now both paddle 1 and paddle 2 are going to be able to stay on stage. They won't pop off the stage accidentally, like they did in my demonstration. Okay, so we're going to save this. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go make a new frame. So I'm going to click on Ping. I'm going to go Insert, New Frame. So I'm going to come back into my Workspace toolbar. The way I do this, just double click on Ping. And I'm going to put this title frame, this game underneath the frame 2. I just drag it underneath this. So now what I want to do is I want to make a directions page. So I come over here to background color and I just give it whatever color I want. Once again, they say red. I don't think that matters. I'm going to, yes, I'll choose it. Okay. So I'm going to double click in here and go back into my frame here. I'm going to call frame 2. I'm going to call this Start. Right click, rename, Start. So I'm going to double click here. Now I'm going to put some directions here. I'm going to click Insert, New Object. And I'm going to come down here and find the word Text. Then I'm going to click String and click OK. Now I'm going to write the word Ping here. Then I'm going to click on the A, and I'm going to change my color here. Whatever color you want. I'm going to go into Tahoma. I'm going to come up back here and find me a new script style. Then I'm going to find me a size. Click OK. So now what I do is I click on where I've got the string and I double click it again. Get my sizing handles, I drag this down. I find where the center, I center this on my thing. Now I'm going to make a new string. So I go Insert, String, New Object. I click String again. And now I'm going to write instructions. Well, let me see here. Let me center this a little better. Okay, I'm going to write my instructions here. I'm going to click over here with the check mark. See, this is paragraph text. I'm going to click the 3 dots here. I'll be able to write a lot here. I'm going to put in here, player 1 uses the W arrows to go up and the S arrow to go down. The S to go down. So once I have what I want written, I just click OK. Then I'm going to color it up. I'm going to go to the A once again. I'm going to change my color. And I might change my font, bump it up a little bit. So now I resize this. Just click on my sizing handles. And put that where I want it. So I'm going to do the same thing for the directions for player 2. So I'm going to click Insert, New Object. Once again, I'm going to choose String. I'm going to go OK, and I'm going to click here. And I'm going to click on the red check mark. And this I'm going to write. Player 2 uses it up and down arrows on the keyboard. Let's click Enter. Next I'm going to color this up as well. I click my A. I choose my color. And then I click Tahoma. And I bump this up too. I resize this as well. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a button. So I'm going to insert, new object. I'm going to come back up to all objects. And I'm going to drive down till I see the word button. Here we go. Right here it says button. I click OK. And I click here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click, and where it says enter new button text, I'm going to put start. And click OK. I'm going to click on the A. It's font to Homa. And I can change this around as I want. We're ready to go. Let's go into the event editor and make this begin. So I'm going to go View, Event Editor. I'm going to make a new condition. I'm going to click my button. Is the button clicked? If the button's clicked, what do I want to happen? I want to go to the next frame. So I right click under the horse on top of the chessboard and I click next frame. So let's see how this works. I'm going to run my game now. Oh, wait a minute, I don't hear any sounds. I better change it where I've got some sounds going on, right? So we can finish our game off here. So let's go into the game frame here. We're going to go into the event editor, View, Event Editor. And now when there's a collision between the ball and one of the paddles, I'm going to make a sound here. So I come back over, drag the slider all the way over to the left, and right here under the megaphone, I'm going to right click here, sample, play sample. So now I'm going to go play a sample from a file. So I click browse under from a file. So if I'm in project 1, I can access the sounds folder. So I open up sounds. And now I can put one of these sounds on. So I'm going to put pop bubble on my, I can play it here, see if that's what I want. Yeah, that's fine. So I click OK. Now I'm going to do the same thing under here. Sample, play sample. There's pop bubble. I click OK. So now I'm set. So I'm going to click my save button and we're going to run it again. Run application. So here we go. So I click my start button. I move my paddle up and down. I move this paddle up and down. There we go. Player 1 wins. And you're all done. Let me show you how to finish this off. So we've saved the game. We've clicked the save button. But now we're going to make an exe out of it so that you can send it to your friends so they can play it. I'm going to go File, Build, Build Application. So now I put in here ping exe. Now this is not the one you turn into me. You turn into me your .mfa, right? This .exe is one that you saved to play, okay? All right. So that's it. That's your game, and that's game 1.